Hello and welcome to another episode of the Complete Agent Podcast, where each week we get together to talk all things estate agency. As ever, I am David Warburton, but I'm also...
Good to know. Good to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, also I am joined by my colleagues and friends, Mr. Ian Storey and Mr. James Kendall. Lads, how are you doing? Let's go to you. Oh, come on, Ian, let's go to you, mate. Look at you. If you could see Ian Storey right now, guys, honestly, you'd give him a cuddle. He's not had the best week or two. I mean, we're all slightly amused because he's had a struggle. He's had a struggle.
We had a point actually again.
You know, it's like me and JK have had some depressing weeks this year, and Ian's just going, "Nah, everything's great. It's great. I love it. What a market!"
Yeah, just exchanged on 45 billion, lads.
Well, Ian is about to share a sob story, and in the background, JK and I are going to get our violins out. Here goes. Off you go,
I've had a brilliant 2 weeks, lads. I've sold 25 houses and I've exchanged on about 45 billion. So it's all good. No, not really. I've had an awful sort of 10 days, actually. Or we have. So I think we've had about 8 sales fall through. And one of those was a seller pulling out, which is always a headache. And with another couple that were very, very close to just about exchanging, and they're going to complete next week, that have also fallen through. And we've got another 2 that are on the rocks. So it's been a very dicey period. But as we all say to each other, whenever this happens, this too shall pass. And, you know, it's how it goes, isn't it? So overall, it's obviously been a brilliant year. Loads of good stuff in the pipeline. The pipeline will be great going into next year. Some lovely listings as well. Matt, our new valuer, he's been with us over 2 months now, but he's been out by himself for nearly 2 months, and he's putting some lovely properties on at the right kind of fees. So I think we've listed 3 above $1 million in the last week, and then another couple of nice ones at 600 and 900, the Gold Dust. So overall, it's good. And as we all know, the budget came and went, which I know we're going to come on to discuss. And we're getting towards Christmas, so it's a great time of year to be an estate agent, I think, because we've got loads of nice family stuff planned in the next few weeks, and we're going away at Christmas. So really, it's all good. And I love speaking to you two so much because it really grounds you. And, you know, it's a lonely place, isn't it, running a business? So to have people you can bounce off in a safe space is really vital, I think. So that's my week, lads.
Well, let's just, to be fair, Ian, you have had an absolutely stonking year. You do share
another one
with us privately, and it is a shame that you're going through a little bit of a sticky patch. But, let's be realistic. You've put in an incredible amount of groundwork, you and the team, and you have had a stonking year. And the key is you're going to go into January with an unbelievable pipeline that people can only dream of. So let's look at the bigger picture here. It's a couple of weeks that's been written off now, and as I said, we're going to discuss the budget response and all that sort of stuff. So it's not bad. And the other thing we've always talked about, hasn't it? We're all in a position mid to high end where when these bad times come, mentally it's draining, but actually, as a company, you're in a good position, aren't you? So,
I can echo that as well, mate. Like, you know, you've all year, you know, even when we've had like bad times. You know, you've been there for us as well. Like, I feel like we need a little cuddle over the camera, but
I'm welling up here.
Although me and Dave did go for a couple of celebratory beers, but no, joking aside, it is one of those things, isn't it? You know that after a little while, and I know Dave, a little while back, you were saying you don't get excited about like putting deals together anymore. And I think a lot of people feel the same, but I do feel like now the budget is out of the way, it'll be on to the next excuse. But the next excuse probably won't be for another 4 or 5 months, hopefully. So shall I go week-wise and then we can wrap that up and go? Or do you want to go, Dave?
I'll go. Thanks, JK.
Go for it.
Yeah, so my week's been okay. Yeah, it's we've actually sale agreed 4 houses. I think I said is it this week that I've put my big one in this week? But we've had 2
houses, by the way, for anyone listening down south.
It's houses. Sale agreed 2 houses, mate. So yeah, we've done our big one. We actually put this one through with £2.325 million pounder. And we've also done one at 680, the Gold Dust, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
And then a couple of nice little ones on Relocate as well. So 4 sales put in this week. I've been instructed on one beauty this week, which is going to be at 1.4 million, and I've got an off-market viewing this Saturday, which is nice. We've got loads in the in photography, lads. That we put. I've only listed one this week. Sorry, 2, but through choice. It's been let's wait for the budget and let's have a look at sort of between Christmas and New Year. We've got loads in photography ready to go, so we're going to have a bit of a launch between Christmas and New Year. And some that we're just putting off until January. Just people waiting and seeing. But I'm going to a lot of good stuff. I mean, like this month, for what is supposed to be a quiet month, we've booked 36 valuations this month. So it is crazy busy. And yeah, the letters have obviously landed. We were a bit late getting our Q3 letters out, actually. There was a bit of a delay at the printers, but we've got them all out. We're starting to get a great response from that. I anticipate more coming in now that the budget is out of the way. I think that people will start to call and get ready for January. And obviously we've got another one going out towards the end of the year. So overall, lads, yeah, pretty good. Not bad at all. And I will now pass over to you, James Kendall.
Thank you, David Warburton. So how has my week been? It's been pretty good. We only sale agreed, I think, one in the last week, again, which not going to break any records, but for this month, actually, we've not had a great month. What's interesting, right, is we've not had a great month in terms of units. So we've only sale agreed 6 this month, but our average fee is well over 10 grand for all of those. So what doesn't sound great is like, well, actually, we're still on well over 60 grand gross this month, and I'm currently negotiating on one at 900. So that'll boost that up significantly as well. And it just makes such a difference. Like when your average fee as a business is well over 10k, it can be a game changer. I can remember being here in this position around Christmas time, probably must be 8 years ago now. Our average fee as a business was about 2 grand. And I think we sale agreed 2 that month. And, when you think of how much Rightmove costs, how much your rent costs, how much your team costs to employ, we were really in the red. And, when you do 2 or 3 sales at 2 grand a pop, barely touches the sides. So to be in a position where, we're only doing 6, I mean, our average for complete sort of transparency is generally between 10 and 15 a month. So probably 12 and a half sales roughly over the year a month. Obviously that is gross. It'd be nice if they all completed, but our exchange ratio as of last year was 80%. I think now I looked at 20 EA the other day, and I think we're still running at about 81%. Have grown again in the upper end, so the 750 plus market again continually tend to grow year on year, and I think a lot of that is just brand awareness, a testament to the market updates that we send out every quarter, like the compound interest that you get over sending letters out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's not to be sniffed at, as you say, Dave, in terms of the constant stream of good quality leads that we're getting. So in terms of instructions, so again, like you, Dave, I've been speaking to people that are sort of pre and post budget. I spoke to a chap the other day that really wanted to get his house on and market in 24 hours because he was chasing another house he'd seen. And I said, look, the reality is I'm not going to be the agent for you if you want to do it in 24 hours. I said, I need to stage it, style it, photograph it, edit it. I said, I can probably turn something around for you in 4 or 5 days, like if we really go at it. But it's not going to happen for us in 24 hours. Mainly because, again, busy family. House is only 525, but still a 10 grand fee. But in order to get the price and do it properly, we can't rush it through. I also said to him as well, you are doing it a little bit the wrong way around. You are chasing after a house that's just come on the market at good value when you're not in a position to go. So what we do need to do is get you market ready. Offered to call because I knew the agent it was up with. I said, look, let me just put you out in misery. Let me ring the agent, see what the crack is, and see if you're in with a shout for it or not. I said, because the best thing for you to do, because I know some agents are greedy, and I know sometimes, we like to try and get the local house to sell if they want to buy one through us as well. We've done it before, haven't we? Bought some time. I actually said to the client, the best thing for you to do in this scenario may well be to go with that agent to secure that house. Which he kind of he looked at me as if to say, what about? And I was like, well, look, yes, I'm probably not going to get the business if this comes off and this happens. But, at the end of the day, you've asked me to advise you on what the best thing to do in this scenario is. And that's what I'm doing. At the end of the day, if that doesn't come off, then at least you know that I'm always going to have your best intentions at the forefront of my mind. You can't, it's one thing telling people, but I feel like all we do in our businesses, it's not just telling people, it's showing people. And what I did is I rang the agent, and he actually said to me, to be honest, I had a couple of people that are interested that are on the market or not on the market, but we've had a couple of people that are ready to go that are both offering on it, and it's probably going to go. So I rang him up and said basically that, and he was like, "Look, I really appreciate that. We'll probably park it for Christmas now, get the Christmas tree up, enjoy Christmas with the kids, and then we'll come back to you in January and we'll go ahead." And I just thought, what a great way to, just being genuine, getting instruction. Yeah, I know I could have lost out on a 10 grand fee there, but, at the end of the day, I've gained one, but I've also gained trust. So throughout the relationship now, they're always going to know that, I'm genuine, and I'm always going to try and put them first, regardless of what we do. But yeah, again, another one, went back to after the budget as well. Had a good chat with them yesterday. Again, talking around price, he said to me, I would really like to get, again, it's another 500-ish. I'd really like to get 550. The data and a very similar house next door but one is just sold for 510. They've got a small orangery out the back. It's probably 2 by 3 meters. It's not enough to get them up to 550, in my opinion. So I've been very transparent with them and said, look, what does it look like if you have to take 520? What does it look like if you have to take 510? Because they want to move, and their fixed rate mortgage is going to be up in, I think, June time. And they go from a really low interest rate paying £500-600 a month. But because of their age, they're now going to be paying nearly £2,000 a month because they're going to have to change their mortgage product. So end of the day, they've got to move. I've been honest with them. Again, he said, look, I really appreciate and value the advice that you've given. Appreciate you being upfront and not just because they were on the market a year and a half ago. And classic, phone photos, no floor plan. Oh yeah, we'll get you this. No communication, no honesty. And I just think sometimes, people will, sometimes all the time, people value honesty. They just need to know you are the expert. In order to be the authority in the lounge, you need to behave like the expert as well. Don't just say you're the expert. You have to behave like the expert. So yeah, all in all, gents, pretty good week all round. Struggling a little bit with staff sickness this week. We had 2 people go down with sickness, but luckily it's not been the busiest time with the budget, so had a chance to play catch up, and it's not affected us too much. But shall we slide into the budget?
Yes. Just before we do, lads, just a quick one. So I did a viewing last night at a property where it's a really nice house. In fact, it's a beautiful house. It's a semi-detached home. And the price of it originally was on with another agent at £1 million, which was overpriced. We had it at 900, and it's recently been reduced to 850. Now the house that's the house. JK is
are there cows nearby, Dave?
It does have cows near it. So it's a large home, 4,500, 4,600 square feet. It is huge. It dates back over 100 years. And the feel of that property is like a detached home. These old homes where you go in them, even though it's a semi, it just feels detached. 3-4 bricks thick. It's massive, tall ceilings. And it's been struggling. It's had a couple of viewings. It's really been struggling. And one of the reasons it's struggling is because at 850, you can buy detached homes in the area, 850, 900. And the majority of people will put in on their search filter, particularly for the area that we're in here, and that number, they'll put in detached on Rightmove. So naturally, it'll skip all the semis. And it was just annoying me because the price per square foot value on this home is an absolute steal for 4,500 square feet. It's double the size of the majority of the detached ones that people are looking at in the same bracket. Anyway, I decided to go back to the house to do a bit of additional promo. I did a Facebook Live there. I recorded another speedy walkthrough reel. I recorded another organic reel as well that I can use time and again. And I was a bit more, well, how do I put it? I got into the detail. And I just said, I basically went on camera to say, basically, if you are looking in this area and you're only using detached as your filter, you need to seriously come and look at this one and consider it, because it's 4,500 square feet, double the size of a lot of the stuff that you'll be looking at. It's huge. It's a great area. I actually went into price per square foot detail, sort of saying that it's $240 a square foot around here for a semi-detached home. If you were to get this house available at $850, if you were to get this house at $850, you have got an absolute steal, an absolute bargain. Anyway, I've put that out there into the open world, and I showed somebody around last night, and they love it, love the house. And they said to me in the house, we had discounted this house because it was a semi. And my son saw it, he saw your video, and he said, we need to go and look at this house. And they came around last night, and they have fallen in love with that house. And I just think it shows that whilst obviously everybody needs to be on Rightmove, social media is so powerful. And if you've got some sticky stock and you're changing photographs around and you're relaunching the properties on socials and stuff, like the original stuff that you've got, that's great. But my honest view would be take a bit of time to actually go out and almost relaunch it. Particularly if you're doing new price on it and stuff, take an opportunity to actually go there again. Social media is so important. We always talk about having a mix, don't we? A marketing mix. And I think as well, once properties have been on the market for a while, you've got to be doing your seller reviews. They can go stale, but we get some really, really great feedback by going back to houses just to do a little bit of additional promo. And the homeowners really like it. We pop them in the WhatsApp groups. We show them what we've done. And, I actually had a comment from one of a different vendor, not this one, sort of saying, thanks, Dave. It looks amazing. This is why you stand out from everybody else. And his house is not selling at the moment, but he knows we're doing everything we can. And he's already been on the market with 3 other agents and knows he's getting a lot more than he's had previously. So I just wanted to make that point, lads. I thought it was a night. It was good to hear last night that people are watching. It's not always about likes and shares and things like that. People are always watching, getting hundreds of views, and this particular one could turn out to be a really nice success story. And even if they don't want to buy it, the mere fact that they said they've now viewed it on the back of that just shows that shit works. So I just wanted to share that.
Well, if you don't buy it,
do you know what?
You don't win a round.
Before you move on, before you move on to the budget, I've had a couple of times recently, and I know we've all had it before, and I've had it loads, but I've had it again recently, and it just keeps reminding me. I've been to 2 really good vals in the last week or so, and both of them, when I walked in, it was her, not him. Both of them went, "Oh God, I feel like I know you. I feel like I know you already." And I know we know it works, and I know that's why we do it, and I know we've had it before. But even when you get it, like where we are now, successful and established, like we are, it still makes me think, "Fucking hell, yeah." You got to keep doing it. You got to be consistent with it. And you got to keep doing it because it never stops. You sort of think, "Oh, well, we're established now, so of course people know who my company is," but they don't necessarily.
They know who you are.
And they don't know who you are exactly. And when they know that connection, it's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, this was that last night. He came in, he said, "Oh, God, I watch all your videos, mate."
Yeah.
And it was the son. And I've seen them all, they're brilliant, and he really likes what we do. And it's nice to hear, isn't it? It's flattering. But at the same time, it's great for your clients because ultimately that's who you're working for. So I just thought I'd share that, because if you have got sticky stock, it can work twofold. That, a direct result where somebody wants to come and actually see the house and you might end up selling it. But secondly, it just makes your vendors know that you're doing everything you possibly can.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Anyway,
that's a good shout, mate. So, I mean, I think one of the things, obviously a hot topic at the moment, everyone's put their 2 pence out on social media. The budget was a little bit anticlimatical, as we thought it would be. I think that's a word. Then
it is now.
It is now. That'll do. Everyone knew what I meant. So I just thought we'd go over a few bits so people that do listen are able to articulate what it actually means to clients when they're in the living room. So obviously, everyone knows that the OBR document was leaked. Obviously, it's all over the news. So that is the fiscal document that contains all of the detail in the budget and what's come in. So that was leaked half an hour before it was actually due to come out. We were actually watching the BBC live stream on it at the time in the office, and you could see that all the economists just going through everything, and it was all a little bit of a nothing. So main discussion points are really around the mansion tax for property. So what does it actually mean? It's basically a high value council tax surcharge. However, the money doesn't actually go to the local councils. It's going to Westminster. It's going straight to central government, which I think is an important thing to note. But it only kicks in from April 2028. So be interesting to see who gets in after they inevitably get kicked out, whether they actually keep it and whether it actually stays. So who knows?
It's so true that I've never known a government that's hated so much. I've yet to find someone that agrees with everything.
So just quickly to cap it off, this says annual surcharge. I don't know if you guys want to go into the detail on it, but basically there isn't a lot to go through. It starts from 2028. It's on homes over 2 million. It'll be homes valued at 2 million in 2026. So to put that into context, that's less of 1% of properties in England that will be affected. That's the HM Treasury estimate. There are roughly 150,000 properties currently over 2 million in England and Wales, which should rise to 180,000 if house prices go up, as they should, to 180,000 by 2028. But just to give you the detail over Rightmove in terms of properties that are actually sold over 2 million, Rightmove data says less than 0.5% of sales agreed this year were over 2 million. And around 1% of homes for sale were priced above the threshold. So the reality is it's not going to mean an awful lot. And just to get into the detail a little bit on that, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's all going to be banded. So if your house is worth 2 million, you're going to have to pay basically a $2,500 a year surcharge at 2 million. And I think next from 2 to 2.5 is $3.5 grand. 2.5 to 3.5 is $5,000, and then 7.5 grand for 5 million plus. Now, let's be real here. If you own a £2 million house, paying another 200 quid a month, 250 quid a month, whatever it works out to be, you don't own a £2 million house and worry about paying 250 quid a month. Where I do think the opportunity is here, and where I do think it will help the market, because I'm always trying to look at the positive side, is those people that have been in their homes for 25, 30, 40 years that now live in a £2 million home, it might actually get them to think, maybe I need to move and sell this now before I have to start paying more money a year. So it might just focus the mind. So those people, maybe not our ideal clients that have got the sort of bougie kitchens and high spec, but the older generation downsizing where they live in a £2 million house because they've lived there for so long, and it's been in the family. That may then present itself as an opportunity to get those larger homes moving.
I think you're right there. That's one thing that I would criticise them for. The majority of people that live in these high value homes, that it's just not going to affect them at all. I think there'll be a lot of people screaming at the TV, thinking that Reeves is a wanker, the government are terrible, get him out, all that sort of stuff. And like I said, the majority of people agree. But actually, when the dust settles and you speak to somebody who's sat in a £2.5 million home and say you're going to be paying an extra £2,500 a year, £200 a month, you're going to go, oh, okay.
Oh, well, never mind. Do you know what I can liken this to, just anecdotally? We go to Abersoch quite a bit in North Wales. We've not got a house there or anything like that, I wish. We just go there on holiday once a year. And it's like Cheshire, they call it Cheshire on Sea, don't they? And it's like Range Rover Central and loads of money. And it's a great place to go. It's a lovely little pretty village and it's lovely, nice place to go. And the Welsh government introduced a surcharge, didn't they, on second homes? So I think they now pay 3 times the council tax for those properties, those holiday homes that they have. And it is absolutely rammed, that place, with money. So people who've got the money, it doesn't affect, that sort of thing doesn't affect them.
They don't care.
They don't care. It doesn't affect them.
It annoys
doesn't
them.
affect them at all.
They don't care.
It annoys them. It definitely annoys them, but they don't care. And it's like properties where you I quite often say jokingly to a client on a higher end home when we're talking about money, I quite often say, someone who's buying this isn't worried about the price of the electricity. They're not concerned about their energy bills, are they?
Yeah, 100%.
So I just don't think it will really affect things at all. I think if they'd have rebanded council tax like they said they were going to do significantly, I think that could have affected things quite a bit. Obviously, stamp duty would have affected things probably had it been significant, but I don't think the mansion tax will make much difference.
It won't make absolutely any difference, to be honest.
No.
The only thing I think it would do is make a positive change for making people make a decision. But the reality is, it's not going to happen, in my opinion. Just on that, actually, you touched on it then, Ian. The 500k thing they put out in the that they leaked out in the news. I mean, that would have been disastrous, in my opinion, if they'd have got that wrong. But if you look at the impact it actually had on the sort of the pre-budget paralysis, if you want to call it, the data from Rightmove, 17% of active or considering movers paused their plans due to tax uncertainty. Apparently, according to their survey, 61% were aware of rumoured changes, 79% of those were concerned. Those 55 plus were most concerned. Understandable given obviously targeting of higher value homes. But I also think along with that, there was the whole CGT on your main residence that was floated as well. So I can imagine that that's probably why those 55 plus, if you've been somewhere 25 years and had, £1 million worth of growth, for example, in 25 years, then obviously, CGT on that is not going to be insignificant. And Ian, I remember you having a conversation actually with a client a couple of weeks back where they said, if it happens, is it really, is it going to be worth moving? £250,000 or whatever the difference was at the time. So there's the buy demand again. Everyone will just want to get on with it now, I think. So the stats should be 25% of the market boosted. They scrapped the exit tax as well, so they were originally going to impose that, but they scrapped it. It was one of those things I think came out in the news a week ago or so where they said they basically put a can on it. Because I think the other thing to remember is, and I can't remember, was it me and you talking about this, Dave, or not? I can't remember who it was I was talking to about it with, but the government, although we sit there and we point fingers at Labour or whoever's actually in charge, they're actually at the mercy of the financial markets as well, because they borrow so much money.
Yeah,
they can't do anything drastically different that will upset the financial markets. So having that exit tax in place, I think people saw the reaction of where the markets were going to go, and obviously, although Reeves stands up there and makes a case of why she's doing this, that, and the other, the reality is she's also got advisors behind the scenes that advise them on different sort of fiscal bits and pieces. So yeah, that didn't happen. Landlord income tax rises are coming in from April 27. So property income tax is going to rise by 2%. So that's 22% from 20% on a base rate. 42% from 40 on the higher rate, and then obviously the additional rate 47 from 45. So obviously that's going to reduce some landlord profits. Obviously there's the renters reform coming in that is it May, I think, this year. That officially kicks in, and you won't be able to do things like just hike up the rent and have rental bidding wars anymore. That's all part of that legislation. But this isn't a lettings podcast, so we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But realistically, there's another 18 months, really, or another year and a bit, actually, 2027, before it actually kicks in. So looking at the mortgage market,
I think this is a biggie. This is a biggie. If it plays out. So go on, JK.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean, a lot of this. So Simon Gates, shout out to Gatesy, was sent me actually his take on it this morning. There was a lot of good information in his report that he sent me as well. A lot of this on the mortgage market as well. So the immediate market response, 10-year rate dropped 8 BPS to 4.42. Then reversed to 4.54 and has eventually settled at 4.45. Now, so just to articulate this, if you're not familiar with how the whole system works, really, really simply, the banks obviously borrow money from a central source, and they obviously lend money on what usually called something like the LIBOR rate, for example. So it's the money that for example, if you're taking a mortgage for £1 million, they'll borrow £1 million from the central bank, for example, at 3.5%, and then they'll loan it out to you at 4%. So they're making 0.5% on £1 million compounded over X amount of years. That's how that works. And looking at the bank interest rates, obviously they track the LIBOR rate, but also the main BOE interest rate. And ultimately, they're betting on what the interest rate's going to do. So, those people that are in 5 or 10 year fixed rates back, 5 years ago, they were laughing on 2%. But, now obviously banks are pricing that in for the long term, which is why your 10 year, your 5 year, your 2 year, all the rates vary so differently. The 2 and the 5s actually are tracking fairly close at the moment, because I think the view is there'll be a base rate cut, in the next 3-4 weeks, whenever the next base rate meeting is at the MPC. So, the average mortgage rate has had a slight drop, according to Moneyfacts, to 4.92%. But the OBR's longer term view is that mortgage rates should be around possibly 3.7% ish, but they could go up to 5% by 29.
That's the key, I think. That is the key. And I think that is something that really needs to be discussed with your clients now. I mean, we're going to talk about how are you positioning what's just happened with your homeowners. I can't see a situation where it differs too much around the country. I think London will probably be more negatively affected by things in some respects. But certainly the majority of areas across the country will be the same. And, I had a seller review pretty much immediately after the budget yesterday with one particular client who was itching to know what I thought we should do. I mean, my view for them is that the house does need a bit of an adjustment. But now that the budget's out of the way, it was all noise. It was actually a really great result for them in some respects. And obviously, we've now got Christmas coming up. And my view is we don't do anything just yet. We tweak the price probably between Christmas and New Year. Go and enjoy Christmas. But some of these stats and facts that we're talking about now, JK, I was relaying to her. And one of the things to come out of the report is about mortgage rates. So the average mortgage rates on existing loans expected to rise from around 3.7% to around 5% by 2029. So that's 3-4 years away. The likelihood is we'll probably see a stagnated market during that time. I can't see a situation where we see any rises like we've had. We already know that we've had sharp rises throughout COVID. If you look at some areas, it's a bit like a roller coaster. They've come down, they've come back up, they've come down, they've come back up. Most of them have just stagnated and started to drop a little bit. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. There's obviously wider economical challenges that affect business and employment and pensions, all that sort of thing that we'll probably not go into today because there's too much. But the message to her was simple. Nothing much has changed. It's still a very price-sensitive market. Be sensible in this market that we're in. It's a new market. It's different to the one that we were in 2 or 3 years ago. But be aware of what's being predicted here. If mortgage rates do increase over the next few years, it'll make it more challenging for people to buy houses. It's as simple as that. So you've got to be aware of that. So don't start thinking now that the budget's out of the way. Brilliant. It was all just noise. And great if we get an interest rate drop in December, all of a sudden the floodgate's going to open. As it happens, I do think that we're going to get maybe that first quarter of next year, especially if we get the interest rate drop. You know what it's like, lads. I think even if there's not much change, like we had the 4% rate, didn't we? The drop in was around August. And it didn't really change much because the lenders had already factored it in. There weren't great new rates, although they have come down a little bit. I think if we get 3.75 and then go into January, I think to a certain extent, quite a little slight contradiction. I wouldn't say the floodgates will open, but I think we'll probably have a busy first quarter. And I would say to anybody who's on the market and has been struggling, take advantage of that. Readjust your price. Take advantage of what's going to come, which is probably a busier market in that first quarter. The budget's out of the way, the interest rates are a bit lower. But long term, don't sit there thinking your house price is just going to, not long term, short to medium term, that your house price is going to double in the next 3 years. Whatever it is now, it's likely to be in the next 2 or 3 years. So don't bank on that. So yeah, I think the mortgage rate side of it is probably quite important, even though there's high liquidity at the mid to high end of the market. The interest rates will be dropping slightly in the short term, so don't forget that impacts saving rates and things like that in a negative way. But borrowing costs will obviously be cheaper, so I think take advantage of that. But don't sit and wait. Don't sit and wait is my feeling on that.
So just to cap off the budget, so for anyone that is just wanting to actually distill everything that happened in the budget, basically there was a council tax surcharge that's going to affect less than 1% of the market, but it's not going to happen until 2028. There'll be a landlord income tax rise that's not going to be until 2027. That's basically it. What didn't change, so what hasn't happened, there's no stamp duty overhaul, no 500k property tax, no council tax revaluation, basically no fundamental changes for 99% of the market. And the budget was basically more about what didn't happen rather than what did happen, because there was so much noise in the media and so many leaks. And I think the removal of the uncertainty is probably the most valuable outcome than everything else. People can just get on with their lives. Which is always the case, isn't it? I think I put something out on LinkedIn the other day. We've been there before: the general election, the Brexit vote, the this, the that. The interest rate spike. There's always something, but you just need to crack on and get on with it. Ian, you said it the other week: priced well, marketed well, they will sell. And I think that message that you need to be delivering to your clients, but also, deliver the news to your clients as well. Keep them updated, even if there is no news, whether that's about their property or anything. But even on the budget, just drop them a message, do them a video. This is what the budget is. This is what's happening. This is, what you need to know about mortgage rates. This is the opportunity. So, there's what to articulate to them. But yeah, basically 99% of the market, it's going to be business as usual. There has been a few I've noticed on Rightmove that have gone from 2.1 million to 1.99995, which I think is just a silly move, because it doesn't even kick in for a couple of years.
No.
Who knows? We might go back to 2012 when people pay £1,999,000 for their house and pay 250 grand for a sofa.
I thought that.
Just to be clear, we do not support tax evasion, and anyone that doesn't do that will be reported accordingly. But we all worked in those markets in the 250k stamp duty, and there were some, let's say, dubious things that happened during that time that the government sort of cottoned on to. So I think, lads, obviously we've covered the budget. We don't want to spend too much more on it. Can I just
add one thing? Sorry.
No.
I'm going to. Just on mentality, and I'm sure other people have had it. I know Steve Carroll in our group had a success story, didn't he, yesterday, in relation to budget? I had something similar where we've got a house at 600,000 that's been sat for a little bit, not many viewings at all, and then literally budget ended yesterday. 2 viewings, just like that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I think that there are a lot of people being sat on the hands a little bit, waiting to see what happens, and now it's out of the way. Of course, it's Christmas shopping time, so other people will have their hands full with other things. But I do feel that once the dust has settled, it will kickstart again. And you just touch on it there, JK. You've got to get some stuff out there, get a video out there, get some documentation out. Let your clients know what's happening. Let your potential new clients know what's happening. Show that you're an authority.
Rightmove have literally just sent an email as well. Autumn budget. What does the budget mean for housing? And there's a thing that's just come out on email. Literally just landed in my inbox now, and it's basically pretty much what I've just said on the podcast, but in long form. So what I was going to say is obviously there was now 3.5-4 weeks left of the year. I just thought it might be some value here. I mean, obviously it's a bit late for people to start doing Christmas campaigns now, but should we just let the listeners into what we're doing before the end of the year in terms of the 12 Days of Christmas campaigns that are going to be launching soon. We've obviously been out filming them with local businesses. We didn't do it last year. We actually changed up our Christmas campaign last year. We did a local Letters to Santa campaign last year in the cafe next door, where everyone got a free letter from Santa. So we posted them out to them. We hand delivered them, and they got a little nice list certificate. This year we're doing 12 Days of Christmas. I know, Ian, you're doing that as well.
We absolutely are. Yeah,
How's that
all ours are
going?
filmed. JK, I actually don't think it's too late to do it if you really want to do it. So we call it whatever you want. We call it 12 Days of Christmas, and we start on the 1st of December. We've filmed them all already. We've filmed 11 of them already, all edited, ready to go. We're doing the last one today, which is the major one at the end. But in years past, I've left it too late, and we filmed them like on the 30th for the first, on the 1st for the second. And do you know what I mean? If you really want to do it, you can do it, and they are very, very powerful. The local community engagement with those is massive, and we still get recognition and business from it now. They're very, very good. Back in the day, I used to do it with my iPad. No, I didn't. I used to do it with my iPhone and a tripod and a mic. So you don't need anything like that.
That's saying done beats perfect.
Yeah, done beats perfect. It's dead easy to do. Doesn't need to be perfect at all, because just doing it is way better than what your competition are doing.
Yeah, beautiful.
But yeah, they're very powerful, those, JK. Yeah, and we're all doing it this year, aren't we? I think you two are doing it as well.
Yeah, 100%. And so obviously the other thing is we're going to be getting some on market letters out as well, post the budget, which I think is really going to, again, steal a march on what other agents are doing, because they're not going to be, there's going to be a lot of people that have just, like you said, Dave, earlier, I think, buried their heads in the sand. And there's a real opportunity there to educate people and get them on board with it for a fresh start in the new year, with a new start for the new year, and let them know actually what has happened and what they need to do, and a real opportunity to get through the door. Anything else that you want to talk about or cover before we call it a day?
No, not really. I think it's obviously it's now very, very important to start thinking ahead as well. So obviously keep in touch with all your sellers. Seller contact now is bigger than ever. I think you need to speak to them right now on the back of your budget, book those calls in, do revisits where you have to, protect your pipeline, protect your on-market stock, and get the advice in early, as quick as you can, so that you go into January fully prepared for what's to come. And I think that, it remains to be seen. But yesterday was nothing sensational, in my opinion. Yes, there's a lot of controversy there. I think everybody wants this government out and all that sort of nonsense. But the reality is it's not going to massively impact the property market in any negative way, really. I don't think, in the sense of properties will still sell, people can still borrow, house sales are up year on year overall. So just get into your sellers, get some realistic pricing, and get them sold in that first quarter of 2026.
Yeah, excellent. Well, look, really looking forward to seeing you both next week for the TCA Annual Planning Mastermind. And thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you all next week.
Cheers, guys.
Bye now.